adventure, sports, outdoors. With host Harry Canterbury.
There I was, back in the wild again, and I felt right at home where I belong. I had that feeling coming over me again, just like it happened so many times before.
Hi, Harry Canterbury with another edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors. We've got a very, very great show today. We're in the cellar at Pekin Gun, at a special place where all these beautiful guns are kept. I'm here with Dave Barth, the owner of Pekin Gun. He is quite a collector and has a vast knowledge of the Civil War guns that were used during that time. So stay tuned today for a great show. If you like the Civil War, you're going to love this one.
Adventure Sports Outdoors is brought to you in part by Corsaw Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway. Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. Eastport Marina, one of the only marinas in its class between Chicago and St. Louis, on Mariners Way in East Peoria. And by Goodwill of Central Illinois, free employment and veteran and youth services made possible because you donate. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
Hi, Harry Canterbury, and we're here at Pekin Gun with Dave Barth, the owner. He has quite a collection of virtually every type of military arm that was ever produced in the world, nearly. You do have a lot of them.
A few.
But maybe
yeah.
you're missing a couple.
We're missing a few.
We're missing a couple. But we did a great thing yesterday. We went out and shot some of these guns. And now today, we're inside. And Dave's going to explain a lot of the pieces that we have here in front of us. I'm familiar with a couple of them. And some of these are originals. They're the real McCoy. Dave, start with the gun on the end and tell us what that's all about.
That's correct. We're going to look at some Civil War, the most popular handguns of the era. There's a lot more than this, but these are the main ones. The first one here is a Remington Army. It's a 44. It's one of the strongest revolvers they made in the Civil War. 44 caliber. It had a top strap on it, unlike the Colts. The next one is a Colt 1851 Navy. It's a 36 caliber. And these were so popular, they made them after the Civil War all the way to 1873. In fact, Wild Bill Hickok carried this revolver.
And he liked it because he could shoot it and he knew how it shot, but it's a pain in the neck to load, and you got to clean these, and they're really...
That's right.
You know, you and I have done it.
It's
not
black powder
fun.
only,
Yeah.
and you'd have to put some caps on it, fire the caps, you drop powder in, then a bullet, 6 bullets, and then grease it so you don't have a chain fire, multiple firing of the cylinder, and then recap it, and you're ready to shoot. The next one in line is probably one of the most popular Union revolvers. It's a Colt 1860 Army, and 6-shot, 44 caliber. And the value of these guns depends on condition, the authenticity, all original parts, if the serial numbers match. For example, this gun had 3 different serial numbers right on the bottom right here, and then the back strap was numbered and the serial number was numbered. So if they're matching, they're worth a lot more, right?
Now, I've seen these guns before. This is a pretty popular gun too.
It was. This is the next one in line here is a Smith & Wesson Model 2. It was a 32 rimfire. Smith & Wesson had the patent on bored through cylinders, and that patent went all the way to 1873. But this, you dropped in 6 rounds, and it was a rimfire, you know, all self-contained. Yep.
And what's this gun here?
Well, this is kind of an unusual gun. They didn't make a whole heck of a lot of these. It's a Star Model 1863, 44 caliber. They made them from 63 to 1865. Just an unusual looking handgun. Then the very 2 handguns at the end of the line here are both reproduction revolvers made by Uberti in Italy. And if you want a shooter at a reasonable price, you can buy these for $300 or $400. And they're exact copies. If you hold them side by side,
they're the same gun, aren't they?
they're just about identical.
Yeah,
and the quality is excellent.
Yeah, if not better.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful, man, these guns are so gorgeous. I just never get my fill of them. I really don't. I own a gun just like this one here, the 36 Navy, and well, I'll tell you what, they are gorgeous, gorgeous guns. They're really fun, and you're a very lucky guy to have spent your whole life playing with these things. It's
kind of fun.
Oh, kinda, yeah, I don't think, it's a lot of fun. They're great. They really
well,
are.
Should we look at some carbines?
Yeah, let's take a look at some carbines. That sounds like fun. We're here with some real McCoys. There's one in here as a replica, and I shot that. And it's quite a gun. But everything here is in its original state, and some of them are very, very nice. Dave, what do we start with at the end?
Okay, we'll start right here with a Smith carbine. This is one of the first carbines that was military issued, and they were made from 61 to 65. It has a lever in front of the trigger, and you would open the rifle. You would drop in a cartridge, which is full of powder. It's a brass cartridge. They made them out of other materials during the Civil War, and a grease bullet. You would drop that in the rifle, cock the hammer, and put a cap on, and you're loaded and ready to go. Most of these rifles here are all cartridge guns of various types. This one you see in the movies all the time. This is a Spencer, and you load it from the buttstock. You pull the magazine tube out, drop your rounds in, and lever it, and then you have to cock the hammer. You know, you got a couple of functions there to fire the weapon. These were used far after the Civil War. The next one here is a fairly uncommon rifle. It's a Jocelyn Firearms Company. They made these from 1862 to 1865. It's a saddle ring. And you put the hammer on half cock, pull the breech open. Again, you drop in a rimfire cartridge. It's 52 caliber. Close it, and you're ready to go.
Wow.
Now we have two Maynard carbines. These were also cartridge guns. This is the first model, which is fairly uncommon. And these were used quite a bit in the Civil War. The second model came out late in the war and was not issued that much. That's why this one is in such nice shape and that one's in such rough shape.
Well, there's a little history behind this. And
there's a story behind that.
This is pretty cool. Let's hear about it.
About 30 years ago, a farmer came in, sold his farm, and he'd owned the farm for 50, 60 years, sold everything in the barn. They moved some old glass. This was behind the glass since he bought the farm.
And he never knew it was there.
He had no idea it was there. And it's rusty now,
right?
But it could have been in good condition when it was put there 100 years ago.
Does it have is that a patch box?
That's a patch box.
Can we open it? Will it open?
I don't know if that'll open or not.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
And there's actually some writing in there.
Oh, yeah, there sure is.
Yeah. See, that's a patch box where they would keep their
cleaning patches.
Cleaning patches and things like that. Wow.
And the first model had that, and it had a tang sight on it.
So there's a sight there for yardage.
Yes, yep. Then they did away with that with the second model. They put a sight similar to a 61 Springfield that was a leaf sight, and put a saddle ring on it.
Could this gun have been in the Civil War?
Oh, it definitely was.
Definitely.
Yeah, that definitely was used. This is late in the war. Probably never saw combat at such nice shape. It's military marked, and that helps the value too. Original finish, and this has cartouches on the stock from inspectors. Whenever you see that, that adds to the value. The next one in line is a Gallagher carbine. It's a 56-52 saddle ring, and it would open with the lever. The barrel would move forward. You drop the cartridge in. Again, you would cap it.
Have to be capped.
Similar to the Smith carbine. And Gallagher carbine.
I'll be darned.
Next one, they had quite a few of these. This is a Burnside. Again, it's a single shot carbine. Lever on the bottom, and quite a mechanism here. It just falls out. And this one, you drop the cartridge in the top, close it up, cap it, and you're ready to go.
And what era was this?
That was Civil War.
Also.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this here looks like a...
Okay, now these were not obsolete after 1865. This is a Sharp saddle ring carbine. They also had rifles, of course.
Would this have been used in the Indian Wars?
Oh yeah, they used a lot of these in the Indian Wars. In fact, this has been converted. The original rifle had a knife blade on the falling block. So you drop in a paper cartridge, you'd close it, and the knife blade would cut off the back of the paper. Then you'd cap it. This has a cap feeding device here. And cock the hammer, and you're ready to go.
Ready to go. And here's one I shot with you the other day.
Yep. Now, most of these rifles, they make reproductions.
Most of them.
And this is a reproduction of the Smith carbine, and it's just an exact copy. In the Civil War, they made them with swivels, without swivels, and this is a saddle ring version.
Well, I know.
And it used that cartridge we first looked at.
If I knew I was going into battle and I could afford one, I'd have bought something a little different than those big old muskets.
Absolutely.
I would have had something
A lot
like that.
easier to carry.
Oh my goodness. That is very, very interesting.
Well, we have rifles left.
Let's do our rifles. We got the big mamas out here now. These are some of the bullets that these guns shoot. That's deadly.
That's a big one.
My goodness, that's deadly. Dave, down at that end, coming this way. What do we
Okay,
got?
well, we're going to start with probably one of the most common Civil War rifles. This is a Springfield 1863. They were made by probably 20 different companies. And production started in 63, obviously. And it's a 58 caliber, shoots a mini ball. You dump your powder in, put your ball in, and then cap it, and you're ready to fire. The mini ball was a smaller diameter than the bore, so you could drop it right in easy. And then with the hollow base, it would expand with the powder explosion, fill the rifle in, and be extremely accurate. And this was a common infantry rifle. The 61 Springfield preceded it. This had a few updates and used throughout the war. Right.
What's this?
All right, the second one in the line, we saw the carbine earlier. This is a rifle version of the Spencer. You load it from the butt and pull the tube out, drop your rounds in, and lever it, and you're ready to shoot. The third one here is probably the most popular in the movies. It's a Henry rifle, and they started making these just before the Civil War in 1860, and made them to 65, and the 66 Winchester replaced this. But no forearm. You load the magazine tube from the muzzle, and it held 15 rounds. And the Confederates used to say the Northern soldiers could load on Sunday and shoot all week.
And they could.
And just about could.
They just about could.
Yeah.
Now the next one's a rifle.
Okay.
That was made in carbine too?
Yes, we looked at the Sharps carbine. This is a Sharps rifle, a 3-banded rifle, single shot. Again, it had a metal knife blade on the bolt, and come up, cut the back of the paper off, and then you cap it and ready to shoot.
And what's the next one?
And the next one is a British Enfield. The British supplied a lot of firearms
To the south.
To the south and the north, right.
They're playing both sides of the
That's
deal,
right.
Huh?
And this is a British Enfield, same caliber as the 61-63 Springfield, which is a 58 caliber.
And these are everything here is rifled too.
They're all rifle
All
barrels,
rifled,
that's correct.
right.
Yep.
Did they shoot any clean bores? I mean, open?
Smooth bores.
Yeah.
Oh, especially early in the war. Yeah, absolutely.
Couldn't
And
hit
a lot of the cannons were smooth bore.
Yeah, and then the rifling came later.
That's right. Then we have a 61 Springfield.
And that is an original.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't know it, but if you look at this gun and see how shiny it is, that's how they got them.
The guys used to polish them up.
got
Some of them were blued, and then a lot of guys liked to polish barrels, and
Well, they were pretty.
Polish them up.
But you've been better off to leave it dark.
That's right. Less shiny.
That's right. Beautiful gun, though. I've always wanted one of these and come awful darn close to buying one. I said, you know, I've got.
You still have time.
I've got 110 guns. I don't need any more. Oh boy! Now what do we got next, Dave?
All right, and just after the Civil War, the rifles progressed into cartridge guns, and this is an original 63 Springfield. It's an Allen conversion. They take a muzzle loader, they would cut the breech, and install this trapdoor.
So this originally was a.
This originally was a 63 Springfield.
Wow.
And took a standard cartridge, standard priming system, and.
Yeah, what caliber would that have been?
They had various calibers. A lot of them were 50-70.
57.
Then that developed into the rifle behind it. This is a factory-produced single shot. It's a trapdoor Springfield rifle.
And this was a military gun.
Oh, absolutely. They used these until 1888, if not even a little past that.
So you pull this.
Cock the hammer on half cock.
Half cock. Pull that up. Well, there's your little trap door right there. Slip her in. Ready to go. Pull her back and go. Wow. These guns are in remarkably great shape.
They're pretty clean. A lot of these you really shouldn't shoot. You just don't know what it's like inside the chamber of the barrel. And it could be rusted nearly through, years of rust and powder corrosion. And what have you. That's why they make a lot of nice reproductions. And most of these rifles, they make reproductions.
Now this is a copy of the, this is a real McCoy? Or?
Nope, that's a reproduction Henry rifle.
And what's a reproduction cost?
$1,100, $1,200.
Really?
And it shoots a 45, it's a affordable rifle. It shoots a 45 Colt cartridge. A lot of machining goes into this. That's why it's so expensive, but the quality is just excellent. If you compare it to the original, length and size, it's just
as good or
just
better.
as good.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful gun.
Yep.
And you say a new one's worth what?
About $1,200.
And what about an old one?
They start at about $20,000 and go up. You can spend as much as you want on a original Henry rifle. A Henry with a steel receiver, you're looking at over $100,000.
What were they 30 years ago, 40 years ago? They were still in the thousands.
30 years ago, oh yeah, they've been in the thousands for years and years.
Really?
Yes.
And here's our last gun.
Yep, this is our last one. This is a Spencer, reproduction Spencer. They make a reproduction carbine and rifle. This is obviously the 3-banded rifle.
Wow.
Again, it's got a magazine tube in the bottom of the stock.
Oh, it's a heavy gun.
It shoots a 45 Colt.
It's 10 pounds, every bit of 10 pounds.
They make various calibers, but yeah.
Oh, they're great guns. Great guns.
Actually, we have one more, Harry.
Oh, we do. Oh, that's right. We got to show the gun.
We shot this.
We couldn't see after we shot it.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of
dark.
Smoke. This developed from a Civil War Sharps rifle, the rifle and the carbine.
Now this is a reproduction too.
That's a reproduction. This was an 1874 Sharps, and it was made by Shiloh Sharps here in the States.
Now how do you get that?
Drop your lever.
Drop it here. She pulls down.
Yep.
Wow.
The knife blade feature has been eliminated because we're using brass cartridges,
really?
Right? And this one is a 45 110.
And that would go in here.
Yeah, it would drop right in, and this is the largest cartridge in 45 caliber that Sharps made. Other people modified it after the fact, but that's a 45 110. Those killed a lot of buffalo in the day.
This is what they hammered the buffalo. Killed
That's
80
right.
million of them. This is the gun they killed most of them with.
That's right. Yep.
Here.
Sharps rifle.
Pretty neat gun.
We're going to try out some Civil War guns today. These are reproductions. This is a Smith carbine. Then on the table here we have a Colt 1860 Army. Then after the Civil War they developed the trapdoor Springfield. Next to that is a Civil War Spencer. It loads from the butt, and that's a 3-band rifle. Right next to it is a post-Civil War Sharps rifle. It was developed from the Civil War era Sharps. And then right next to it is a brass-framed Henry. The first rifle we're going to shoot is a Smith saddle ring carbine. It was used primarily by the cavalry. There's a lever by the trigger. We push the lever. This rifle uses a brass cartridge. In the Civil War they were made out of other materials also. It's a 50 caliber bullet with black powder and a reusable machine brass cartridge. We drop it in, close the rifle, put it on half cock, and then we put a musket cap on. And we're ready to fire. This is Lorenzo. He's going to try out the Smith carbine. Cap on. Push it right down. And cock the hammer back all the way. When you have all that smoke on the battlefield from thousands of rifles and hundreds of cannons, they needed flags, and a regimental flag was almost a necessity, and they fought with pride with the flag, but they needed the flag so they could see what unit was where. And the generals on the top of the hill looking down had to have some visual marking.
I'm Cindy. I'm Dave Barth's sister. We grew up handling guns and shooting guns our whole childhood and now as adults. And this is my friend Lorenzo, and he enjoys doing that with us as well. Yeah, my father actually started the business. He was a self-taught gunsmith and started selling guns out of a gas station on Route 66. So it's evolved from there. And I have actually 4 brothers, and they all have a lot more guns than I have. So.
You still like to shoot them.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is a reproduction Henry rifle. The original Henry was a 44 caliber rimfire. This rifle is chambered in 45 long Colt. So we'll drop the cartridges in. The problem with the Henry rifle during the war, if you put a dent in the magazine tube, you were down to a single shot. And we're ready to go. This has a ladder sight. It's graduated up to 800 yards. Now we're going to shoot the primary infantry rifled Civil War for both the Union and the Southern armies. This is an 1861 Springfield. It was updated in 1863, therefore the model 1863. It's a 58 caliber single shot, black powder, and it shoots a mini ball and fires a musket cap. A mini ball is a lead projectile with a hollow base, and the bullet is a smaller diameter than the bore. So when the powder is ignited, it'll expand the base of the bullet, fill the rifling, and create a very accurate rifle out to 800,000 yards or better. Hold the rifle at arm's length, put your powder in, start your mini ball. In the Civil War, they actually had paper cartridges. They called them cartridges. And you'd bite the end off, pour the powder in, and put the paper wadding and the bullet in at the same time.
How fast could they, a guy that's really good at it, load the gun?
I would imagine they could probably get off 3 or 4 shots a minute if they're really good. Cock the hammer. Put the cap on, press it down firmly, and we're ready to go.
This is a very interesting rifle. I've never shot one before, but I'm going to give it a try.
In the Civil War, they had a repeating rifle and a carbine. This was a rifle. Abraham Lincoln actually shot one of these at the White House. In fact, they still have the wooden target he shot in a museum. And you see these in the movies quite a bit. The movie Unforgiven had a carbine. You take the magazine tube out of the stock, drop in the rounds. This again is a reproduction, so it shoots a 45 long Colt. This is a post-Civil War carbine. It was developed out of the Civil War rifles. They would take the rifles immediately after the Civil War and they would convert them to cartridges, an Allen conversion, for example. And then in 1873, they developed an all-new rifle in 45-70. In fact, this is what Custer had, his cavalry had on the battlefield. It's a single shot, saddle ring, breech loading, trapdoor Springfield. This is reproduction. And we're ready to go. The advancement of the Sharps rifle from the Civil War continued until we came to 1874, and they made the model, obviously 1874 Buffalo rifle. They were made in many calibers. This particular one is 45-110, which is the largest factory caliber they produced at the time. And that's the cartridge. It shoots a 550 grain bullet. And it's a 45-110.
Oh, goodness. Indeed.
And we set the back trigger. Unlike the Civil War rifles that had one trigger, this has a set trigger. We'll set it with the back trigger, and fire it from the front trigger. It just creates a really light trigger pull so you can keep your sights on target. And you shoot that long. A little more power than some of the other rifles.
Hey, we're at a very special event here at Springdale Cemetery in Peoria, Illinois. I'm with my very close friend, Norm Kelly, who is really partly, if not a lot, responsible for this monument that is going to be unveiled today. It was put up in 1866 to commemorate the valor, the honor, and the glory on the battlefield of all the men from Peoria County.
607.
And this was taken down what year, Norm?
Well, in the 60s too or something. You know, when they tore down
The courthouse.
The courthouse. I think it was 62.
Where did it end up at?
It didn't dump.
They dumped it, right?
They dumped it down at the marina, just threw it in the weeds. That's exactly what they did.
And Norm and I were on the radio show, I don't know, about 10 years ago. We started talking about that, and Norm ended up writing a story, and then after the story was written, Bruce Brown, a guy that gets really involved with the community, he took the bull by the horns, didn't he?
He certainly did, and raised money, which is, of course, what we needed. I bugged him for an entire year, he claims, you know, because I knew he was the right man, because I didn't know what to do. I'm just a writer, and he carried the ball and raised the money and formed a group, and here we are.
That's right. And of course, one of the stories that I think is very interesting is the eagle on top. And that just fell apart, as I understand, but you actually got another one, and where'd you get it at?
Well, the exact place that made it before. Think of that, guys. The quarry, is that what they call it?
Right.
Well, the same one that did it then did this. We found the old parts, and they put the old parts in and then build up the new one around.
Well, one thing is for sure, it is a great, I am so impressed with what you guys have done. I'm a big Civil War buff. I'm a proud American, and to celebrate what our young men did 150 years ago,
Right.
It's about time that we started paying respect for the people that kept this country together.
Absolutely, and this is one way of doing it. And just think how old this really is. I mean,
Adventure Sports Outdoors is brought to you in part by Corsall Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway. Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. Eastport Marina, one of the only marinas in its class between Chicago and St. Louis, on Mariners Way in East Peoria. And by Goodwill of Central Illinois, free employment and veteran and youth services made possible because you donate. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
Hey, thanks for watching another edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors. We'll see you again.